This project came to me from a client who wanted to breathe new life into an old piece that's seen better days. It's got good bones, but there are definitely a few challenges hiding beneath the surface. What's next, you ask? This one might take a little, shall we say, well, a little extra effort. You'll know what I mean when you see it. So here it is, a tall, traditional hutch with plenty of potential, but also a lot of work ahead. Between the layers of paint, dings, and finished wear, this one's going to need some serious attention to bring it back to life. Let's see if I can turn this tired old hutch into something worth showing off again. Okay, this is a client piece. This paint needs to go. Not sure if a cat got to it or what, but it needs some love. It's got a lot of drip marks on the back here. You know, I'm not one to criticize those that paint, but obviously it probably looked great when they did it, but they did not prep it correctly, because I can even just take my fingernail and scrape off this black paint. I think what's under here is just a white paint. It's not primer. So it's the black paint. I know I could scrape off very easily, but I will more than likely just strip everything. I don't know what I want to do. She gave me full reign, so I can kind of figure out what to do. I'm not sure if I want to paint the interior or paint the exterior and stain the interior. You know what would be the easiest thing is just to paint the whole thing, but I am up for the challenge. This could be really pretty if I was able to take off all of that paint. All right, you guys know what's next, right? Let's do this. Painted right over the hardware. These will clean up nicely, but I'm sorry, but that's just lazy. I hate to say it. It doesn't take much to take these off, or even just tape them off and paint around them. I think I'll be able to. Gotta go slow. Curiosity, let's see how easy it is to scrape. See, I'm okay. In here, there's no white. Yeah, it'll be easier to strip. See, look how easy that is. And dry it off. This is going to be a lot of work. This part is where patience really comes into play. Stripping and scraping. I'm using Klean Strip for this project, and as you can see, there's no shortage of layers to get through. I apply a generous coat, let it sit there until it bubbles, and then I get to work with my scraper. There's something incredibly satisfying about this part, especially when the paint just starts to lift off in sheets. It's messy, it's time-consuming, but honestly, I've come to really enjoy it. Once most of the paint is off, I follow up with acetone and a steel wool pad to remove any leftover residue and clean out the grain. This part really helps prep the surface for whatever finish comes next. And remember, this isn't something to take lightly. Always wear good gloves, a respirator, and work in well-ventilated areas. These products are strong, but they're effective. It's not an easy choice to fully strip a piece, but for this one, it was definitely a must. Getting down to the raw wood gives me a clean slate, and that's where the real transformation starts. So for now, I'm just going to let you sit back and watch the magic happen as I strip away years of old paint and reveal what's been hiding underneath. You know, this might be a little off topic, but as I've been working on this piece, I realized it's been just over a year since I started making videos on YouTube. I'm tired. I'm sore. Got a long way to go, but this is a good first day. hard part is pretty much over. It's kind of wild how fast that time's gone. When I first started, I didn't really know what I was doing. I had been sharing my projects on Instagram for a few years, but I wanted something more. I wanted a new challenge, a space where I could really tell the full story behind each piece, instead of just a before and after photo. And you know what? YouTube has really pushed me in ways I didn't expect. It's made me think more about why I do what I do, how I can teach, inspire, or just let people see the real process, all the messy, imperfect, satisfying parts that happen behind the scenes. I've learned so much this past year, not just about filming and editing, but about finding my voice and building something that feels like me. It's been a journey of growth, creativity, and a lot of trial and error, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. So yeah, maybe this moment feels a little off topic, but in a way, it's all connected. Every piece I work on teaches me something about the craft, about patience, and about myself. My client has made a decision to remove these scalloped portions, so I am going to cut across here just to straighten them out. I think it'll look nice, just kind of clean it up a little bit without getting rid of a lot of the character of the piece. See if I can do this. It works. All right, milestone. This is completely stripped and sanded. And I really like the base, how it's nice and clean. Yeah. Well, I'm not done stripping. All right, I know what you're thinking, but this, yes, is the last day of stripping. I know it feels like it's been a never-ending process, but we're finally at that point where we can see the finish line. Every layer that comes off brings me one step closer to the fun part, the actual finish of this piece. It's always a mix of relief and satisfaction when I get here. Stripping is definitely the most tedious part of any refinish job, but it's also one of the most important. Getting down to clean, bare wood means the new finish is going to look that much better, smoother, richer, and more even. So yes, this is it, the last day of scraping, wiping, and cleaning, and trust me, I'm ready to move on to the good part too, bringing this piece back to life. Sweet! Done. What a mess. Let's put some stuff in here. Let it soak. This is exciting. Hard part is done. Nothing like the wonderful cleanup that happens after. Lovely. Now I just need to do some sanding. All right, like I said earlier, the decision has been made to use a combination of paint and stain. Yes, that was a lot of work, but now I have a blank canvas to paint over part of this piece. I don't have any flaking paint. I've got a good surface for the paint to adhere to. So no regrets. You know, I guess I could just say I got a good ab workout, but I'm gonna tape off some of the areas that I don't want to paint. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to paint first and then stain, because if I do happen to get anything in the area that I'm going to stain, I can just sand that down. So the outer portion is going to be painted and the interior stained, and the shelving as well. So that's where we're going with this. Okay, I'm going to hang these up to paint them. Makes it way easier than having to do one side waiting for it to dry. So I drill a couple holes on the bottom. You won't even know they're there. And you can always fill those in. Then I'm going to take my rack, my hanging rack over here. And I'll hang these up. Just like that. Have some of the staples on here that I just want to reuse, so gotta be careful. other side. So a lot of times I just don't show this part of it. But I do feel the underside is important because a lot of times it's the first thing people see if you deliver a piece. It's going to be really pretty. All right, we've made it to the part that always keeps me humble, putting the doors back on. You'd think it'd be simple, right? Just screw them back in where they came from, but nope, it never fails. The way they fit when you took them off is never the way they fit when you put them back on. It's one of those hit and miss kind of things. A little too tight here, too loose there, and suddenly your doors are sitting crooked. And half the time, it has nothing to do with you. It's all those tiny variables, screw tension, wood swelling, the angle you hold the drill, you name it. So this part is all about patience. I'll attach, adjust, step back, and readjust again, over and over until everything lines up just right. And eventually, you hit the home run. The doors swing perfectly, everything's snug, and that's when you know all the fiddling was worth it. Now it's time for those finishing touches before I move this piece into its spot to take the photos. And while I'm at it, I have to mention my new wood slat wall again from Unisaur. I absolutely love it. It adds such a warm, modern touch to the space. But for this project, I want to do something a little different. So instead of attaching it permanently, I made it removable. That way I can easily swap it out for different looks for upcoming projects. It's a simple change, but it gives me the flexibility to completely transform my staging area whenever I want. And now, let's take a look at where this all started. This was the piece when I first got it. Heavy, dated, covered in layers of paint. And honestly, it had seen better days. And here's how it turned out. A rich olive green finish paired with a warm, stained interior that brings out all the beautiful wood grain. The brass hardware ties it all together, giving it that timeless yet fresh look. It's such a rewarding transformation from neglected and tired to sophisticated and full of character. I couldn't be happier with how it came together. As always, thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more flips just like this, because you know what time it is. It's about flipping time.